Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Interlinked, the official Neo Tokyo podcast powered by Shrapnel.
Brace yourself for impact, crypto gamers. I am reporting from the Sacrifice Zone. STX 3.2 dates have just been announced, and it's going to be going down from July 25th to July 30th. Make sure to block off your calendars so you don't miss out on those mission rewards. These missions come in two different types, ones that earn you Shrap and ones that earn you weapon skins. These missions could be getting a certain amount of kills with a specific weapon, or extracting with a certain amount of weapon skin fragments or Sigma, and you'll want to complete these missions as the prize pool for 3.2 is 1 million Shrap. And if you just can't get enough Shrap, pick up an operator NFT, as holders are going to get 50% of that million Shrap pool. Introducing Crypto Unicorns, a play and collect game by Laguna Games. Breed, battle, and collect your favorite unicorns. Crypto Unicorns has recently successfully migrated to the Zai blockchain. The Zai blockchain was custom developed leveraging Arbitrum technology to address the needs of Web3 gaming at scale. Stay tuned to the end of this episode to learn all about Crypto Unicorns' Play to Airdrop campaign, which just kicked off on July 1st. Learn all about this and more at www.cryptounicorns.fun. Huge shout out to our sponsor, Playa3ull Games. They are inspired by gamers and funded by their community. They have a epic game on the Epic Games Store, a third-person shooter called Nexus. Hop on in there and check that out. They're also currently selling nodes, so if you're interested, check that out at their website, playable.games. That is a 3 instead of a B on Playable. Now strap in for the rest of this episode of Interlinked.
Now today, we have the main man, the myth, the legend, one of my personal friends in Web3 for a very long time, Mr. Zen Wilder. How are you doing, sir?
What's good, Ben? It's all good to be here. Thank you so much. Everything is going well. We have a jam-packed week, jam-packed month on the Wilder side. The kitchen has been cooking, so it's firing on all fronts, especially given the current market sentiments. There's so many different spices being added into the mix. So we are all fired up. We are all ready to take it on. So I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing super good. Excited to dive deep into Wilder World and go just all in bananas about it. But first, I must introduce my co-host, one of my favorite people in the whole wide world, Mr. Jared Bradley, aka Hogsheadcheese. What's up, man?
What's happening? Thanks, Zen, for being here. And Ben, great to be with you. And I'm excited for this one.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and dive in. So, Zen, I want to first establish a foundation for those people who have been living under the digital or proverbial rock and don't actually know what Wilder World is. Maybe you could give us just a foundation of what is it, what's the story behind it, how did it come into being, and then maybe just kind of give us a taste of like the awesomeness of Wilder World, and let's just establish that foundation and baseline.
Awesome. Let's go. So Wilder World is the leading photorealistic open world MMO slash metaverse, experience in Web3 right now. I know metaverse is a bit of a term that we want to put in brackets these days, but I guess for this audience, we don't know what we're talking about. So essentially what we are doing as a project is we're leveraging the most sophisticated technologies in game design to make it hyper-realistic, a photorealistic gaming experience, but then really settle that on some of the most sophisticated blockchain tech and Web3 technology that's out there. Most of this tech stack is actually internal tech built by our sister company Zero Tech, but I'll get to that in a moment. But essentially, we were labeled before. I think Bryson gave us the name. He said like we are the GTA of Web3. So think of it as a hyper-realistic open world MMORPG in its end form. But fully on-chain, maximum on-chain. So where everything is powered by the Wild token, every interaction, every transaction, and everything that you see in world are NFTs. So from the avatars to clothes to cars to the buildings to motorcycles or whatever you can see or interact with in the world is eventually will be tokenized. So And the way this came about is that our co-founders, they've been building some of the blockchain Web3 tech since 2015. So they built some of the first DAO protocols before DAOs were even a thing. So they're really like blockchain OGs, and also hard well seasoned gamers. And they were like, what if we took all this new emerging Web3 technology and actually apply this onto like gaming, like proper gaming, high quality AAA game experiences. And this is how this idea was birthed now almost 9 years ago. Since been officially in the making since 2020, Wilder World as a project. So we've been over 100 people working on this project since then. Had a very successful TGE back then in 21, released already 10 NFT collections, and really scaled up the team to have the team that we have now, industry veterans that worked on, from the Matrix to World of Warcraft to GTA to from Rockstar, Activision Blizzard. So and yeah, this is essentially like how it all came about. And I guess what I will say also, everything eventually will be tokenized. So we're not quite there yet. So where we are right now is if you think of the greater vision of having this massive open world digital metaverse experience that combines gaming experiences, social experiences, trading experiences, retail experiences. I personally believe, for example, that the remote working world will converge in the metaverse as well. So instead of us being here now on this screen, we'll be somewhere, in whatever, in the digital world, in a 3D room environment, when AR and VR also, when the technology has matured. So there will be lots of social experiences that will be combined with these gaming experience. So that's kind of like the great vision of Wilder World. And how do we get there? Right now, we are really focusing on our first 3 gaming experiences. So we have our first vertical slice, which is a racing game already live. So you can download this on the Epic Games Store, called Wilder World. If you check it out, there's the new alpha title launched this week, which eventually allows anyone to download the game, where you can actually race through Miami. So it's a racing game in honor to our first NFT collections, the Wilder Wheels, a collection which basically are our Genesis cars. And we have quite a significant amount of daily rewards that can be won right now through these races. So coins can be collected, but you can also win depending on where you're on the leaderboard. And this racing game is kind of our first slice, where people can already experience Wilder World. In parallel to that, we have 2 other game modes already for a while in development, and that's our first-person shooter and our open world questing experience, like a narrative-driven questing experience, like you would probably compare it to like a Cyberpunk or a GTA, what we referenced before. And the good surprise is we'll launch both of these game modes this year. Not gonna say when, you gotta figure it out yourself, everyone. But it's very exciting. The shooter is of crazy quality, so everyone is super hyped up, and it's like we can't wait to release that, or start leaking more and more. If you go to our Twitter, our X, you'll see already some content. So these 2 game modes will go live this year. And then the open world experience will kind of combine this. So there will be a questing experience where you actually have to engage with the racing game and then with the shooter game, which is now instant sandboxed experience, but it will all be combined together. And this is kind of like how we want to introduce the open world of Wilder World to the people. And one last thing that I will say is our maiden city, the map is called Miami, and it's a digital twin of the city of Miami. So we actually have a partnership with the actual city of Miami. They provided us with their OSM data. We built a digital twin. So we're talking about the map that's 13 and a half times the size of the GTA 5 map. So it's a massive map. We're not going to release everything at once, of course, but it is the art style is just amazing. I can just really, recommend anyone to have a look at the X account, see what our artists have been building. It's a photorealistic, fully on-chain, open world metaverse game / experience, Wilder World.
I absolutely love that, because what it makes me think of, when you're discussing the open world, using the digital twin to build Miami, which I think is just hilarious and awesome at the same time. It really kind of harkens back to the idea of a Ready Player One or a Snow Crash-esque metaverse, where you have an environment where people could come in and, kind of like you were saying, like retail can occur there, social interactions can occur, gaming can occur, eventually working will probably occur there. And just like we're having this conversation here, ostensibly kind of already in the metaverse, just in more of like a 2D metaverse, right? Like with screens. The full, full immersion 3D metaverse is like, seems to me like the kind of the perfect end game for what you guys are building there. I guess the question baked into that is, if we know that the 60% of the internet connected world are gamers, we know that for sure. That's a fact, and that trend is only going to continue. And as time evolves, or as time goes on, more people are going to get connected to the internet, and then more people who are connected to the internet are going to become gamers. How do you kind of see how do you see Wilder being their go-to, or how do you see positioning Wilder as their go-to when there are a lot of other let's call them options of worlds where people can exist in within the space?
Yeah, yeah. I think that's a very good question. And I think what draws people to an experience, what draws people to a game, right? Like I think traditionally it was obviously the entertainment factor, just the fun factor of being in the game. This is changing. This will change. I always have these, I always say on podcasts and spaces that in 30 years people will look back and they'll be like, hey, the generation of the millennial, like 2000, 2010, 20s, whatever, they all played for fun only. Can you imagine that? So I think this is something how people will look back at this time, when we enter the phase where gaming experience actually also bring financial opportunities. And I think this is a really big one. Is in some people will be drawn to this immersion experience for the fun factor. We have been working on elaborate digital economies that are actually, scalable and very complex, highly complex economic models, where we actually have individual economic models for each game mode or for each experience. So I think there will be a way for people to actually earn money while engaging in these digital environments. And then, of course, it's the immersion factor. Like, do you like being in there? Do you enjoy the experience of being in there? And the experience that we have made is that, while we, for example, we bow in front of the OGs, the Sandbox and Decentraland, kind of brought these first experiences, I guess, with that technology at the time to life. The question is this mainstream ready? Would the mainstream be excited by showcasing themselves and by showing themselves in these environments? So at Wilder World, if you have a look, I wish I could show you now the avatar creator, but the fidelity of what will be possible to display yourself within in a virtual environment is absolutely nuts and absolutely on a totally different level. Like, they're screenshots that we have from inside Miami, and you lay this over a real world shot of Tokyo or something like this, you wouldn't be able anymore to tell what's game and what's not. So I think from the immersion factor, that'll be a really exciting one and a really important one for people to actually jump into these virtual worlds and just have this, kind of be whoever you want to be, or display yourself in the way that you want to display yourself online, while having fun, participating in gaming experience, while getting to meet new people, while earning money on the way. And then I think another big factor is what is not really talked about in our space in Web3 gaming, or not much, is the technological feat it takes to power these virtual worlds. It's something that is not possible even for Wilder World as we are next gen experience. If you want to run it on high settings, you'd need like a $5,000-6,000 gaming rig. Yeah, you would need like the top of the top. And then even if you had that, having a multiplayer concurrency in the tens of thousands is technology that's just not there yet. So solving this technological equation, or kind of how can you actually have possibly 100,000 people being in a concert, maybe of whatever, someone having a concert in the metaverse. How can you have 100,000 people in a single instance? These technology, like the solutions to these technologies, is a massive endeavor, and it's something that we've been front and center as well to drive this, to make this actually possible. And so this is why I think Wilder World is very well positioned. Is not only because I believe we have the actual immersion, the fun fact that looks dope, it's just fun to be in there. But also, if everything goes the way that we calculated, we'll actually be able to even host these many people in a single instance, so that people can actually, exchange value and participate in the economy. So, and one thing maybe to add is that we have a partnership with NVIDIA. with NVIDIA GeForce Now. So Wilder World will be the first Web3 game that will be accessible via pixel streaming. So the premise here is that you can just access Wilder World if you have a stable internet connection, and that could be just from a phone, that could be that could be from your MacBook or whatever it is. So really the accessibility of a high fidelity digital environment, I think it's part of the technological solution, the accessibility. So really, making sure that it's accessible to anyone, that it's fun, that it actually makes sense, that it's scalable. I think this is what will create the winner, and I believe that we have really good cards here to actually take this position.
What was your inspiration to use Miami, and how was it working directly with Miami to actually, get all the permissions and so on and so forth to build it out exactly as it is?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'd love to have one of the co-founders here to actually explain the OG backstory back then. But essentially, as you know, Miami is a crypto hub, Web3 hub, especially in the last run. It was like all about Miami in the US. So also our founding team is very, very connected in Miami. And I think there was a line to the Mayor Suarez, this is the mayor of Miami, who is a close friend of the founding team and of the whole project. Maybe not the founding team, but who is a fan of the project. And yeah, I've spoken with the team, with the blockchain team of Miami once, and they're just on it. They understand where Web3 is going. They understand the technologies that will come all about. So they're really investing into also educating the youth, to education programs about blockchain technology and programming, how to set up different protocols and stuff like that. So I think they've been always really open and just embracing these new techs and those projects that actually are serious about building these new technologies. So this is kind of a bit of context, what I'm aware of, what I know, but I hope that suffices for an answer.
Yeah, and also the fact that you guys were able to land, some sort of partnership with NVIDIA, and just like all the, because everybody sees you guys out there, doing all the things that you do. And I really think it's actually a nod to you, sir, because you lead a lot of the partnership initiatives. So just like teaming up with different projects, making friends out there. Maybe you can kind of talk a little bit more about, and I want to actually jump back a little bit to this idea of photorealism and hyperrealism. Because I think you guys probably do the best of maybe any other project. In if you have the rig and you crank it up to max graphics and you just you go full tilt, like it's an absolutely beautiful product. And I really don't think there are very many projects, if any, that can really compete with you guys on the quality of the actual graphics and the product itself there. What did you do differently to be able to get there? Did you just, go to Unreal Engine and crank it up to the max and then, keep clicking and call support team and give you a couple extra buttons to press to just make it, like what did you guys do differently to really take that photorealism, hyperrealism and quality to the next level?
Yeah, I think I think one needs to understand how a game is built or how the game design functions in the back end. Like if you look at our pipeline, for example, we have concept designers and they design something that goes then to like the game designers themselves, that goes to the riggers. That it's like there are teams, multiple teams that just work on every individual asset, and just the amount of work that it takes to just create one building or just to create like whatever, the bushes or like the streets or like the lights, like it's insane. We have a Metaverse meeting every Monday where also us and we are kind of the front of house, obviously, get a bit of an insight in what's happening in the back end in the tech departments, and it's just insane when I look at this, the amount of work of just even scaffolding or something like this. Yeah, if you want to build in photorealism, it's just an insane amount of work. And I think many projects or many people, especially those that do not come from the gaming world or gaming production world, I think it's just like it's like if I told you, Ben, now here, you go and you build a plane type of thing. It's just like it's like on a totally different game to build it really in this high fidelity. And So the teams that you need, just the people to even come up with the ideas to craft everything in original IP and original style, is to just need a really highly skilled team that can actually pull that off. And if I look, I made once this presentation about just how many awards we have internally in our team, or our team members, from BAFTA awards and these awards, and like, you know, the for any creations, VFX, whether it's VFX, it's sound, like our sound design team, the sound engineering team is just insane, you know, insane what these people can do. So I think this is something that is these people probably also don't get enough credit, but building in hyperrealism, photorealism, is just an unbelievably complex and challenging task, and it requires really the combination of many different skill sets to actually make that happen. And while everything is original, there's no SDKs, there's no, you know, metaverse, you know, I've seen that, like what other projects do, that you can just buy these packages and just boom, you have like your buildings or whatever. Like it's everything original. The AI procedural generation technology that we build. So our co-lead on this department, they also lead a master's program in a university for procedural design. So these people, they are also like lecturing and teaching this technology, and they created their own technology of how you can actually procedurally generate photorealistic assets in Unreal Engine. So it's amazing if you just see how that works, how highways are, for example, pulled through the map, or buildings. You know, it's obviously you need procedural generation technique, otherwise you'd build with 20,000 people for 100 years probably to populate a city in that sense. A little bit exaggerating here, but I think you get the point. So and I think where this all came about, I think our co-founders were just, I think they just put the master challenge in front of them. How can we make the dopest, most realistic, most amazing gaming experience, and just settle that on blockchain technology, and then, you know, kind of really usher in the new era of gaming in that sense.
I have a quick question about, so I think we're all sort of aware of Facebook having turned into Meta, and you know, they invested billions into it and probably haven't seen a return. And we've also talked about some of the OGs in the metaverse space from 3 years ago, and you know, their numbers now. And I was curious, the word metaverse as a buzzword, or as what sort of, you know, non-crypto gamers would think about it, is that a hurdle that Wilder World needs to overcome? And sort of what are the plans on that? You know, just looking at what everyone would think of as metaverse today, and you know what that entails for sort of everyone's vision into is that a thing that people would actually go into? And I'm just curious about that from your perspective.
Yeah, great question. And it's something that we've discussed internally as well. I mean, you know, I think the problem with the term metaverse is that just lots has been promised, and you know, it wasn't delivered on what everyone thought the metaverse would become in a short amount of time. You know, everyone thought like, oh, in the 2, 3, 4 years we'll have like these massive, you know, beautiful virtual environments where we all run around. And it's just, now we understand it's probably going to be like, you know, 5 years to 10 years until we have actually something that resembles closely to what we think the metaverse should look like. So I think, from a marketing perspective, yes, definitely best probably to avoid the term metaverse, right? But then the metaverse really as a term is a description of these new virtual worlds. So, you know, if we found another term for that, you know, I think me personally, I'm fine with that. I personally believe that the project that will be able to combine these different technologies, the ones that we just spoke about, you know, whether it's blockchain and AR, VR and AI and photo, you know, photorealistic design, or you like, let's say, need not be photorealistic, but really high quality game design. Those projects that will be able to combine this successfully, that in itself will constitute a new era of virtual worlds, which we now label as metaverse. The way that we, you know, with digital economies and everything. So personally, I believe once we have these experiences, the whole metaverse meta in itself will come back. So I thought like a year ago, I would have said, you know, it's probably at the end of this bull market, we'll have another metaverse meta within the crypto cycle at least. Now I'm not so sure anymore, but definitely, if not this cycle, it'll come back next cycle. A big push on that because this technology will be there. So I think from when we envision what Wilder World will be, the closest that come to us is the metaverse definition. But it might be that by then we have a different word for it. But at the moment, definitely best to avoid this, because the moment you throw out the term "we are metaverse," for those that are not immersed in that space as we are, you get straight away, you get the balls thrown at you. So yeah, it's a funny space.
The thing about that is too, is like, we are living in the metaverse already. The metaverse is just the internet. And if we just become okay with that reality and realize that, okay, yeah, we all spend all of our time online. We're all on screens all the time. The term metaverse just kind of got re-co-opted and used as a marketing tool and a branding tool to hit the hype cycle, to hit the last hype cycle. It didn't necessarily continue to work after that, and people got a bad taste in their mouths. But like, we're online right now talking to each other from 3 different places around the globe. Like, that, if that's not the metaverse, I don't know what is. So in my opinion, it's just a rebrand of the internet. People are going to realize that we're arguing over a term. Who cares? Like, we know the technology's real. The virtual worlds are real. The fact that people are playing games, that's real. The fact that we have a tremendous amount of really smart people and innovation and talent all coming to, and then building, and what's happening is the innovation in this space right now. Like, we're at the bleeding edge of an industry and technology here. And that's super cool. I mean, that's unbelievably fun and unbelievably cool. So it's just kind of interesting to me how it feels like everybody got super mad about the word, but like, if you're in the know and you really, you're actually building in the space, like, nothing changed between when people stopped using that aggressively, early to mid-ish 2022 and now. Like, these are all virtual worlds being built. Things revolve around gaming and full immersion and whatnot. So it's just kind of interesting to me. Like, maybe it's the emotions that people get, or maybe as an investor, they're chasing the hype cycle and they kind of got burned. So there's like negative PR around it. But I totally agree with you, of like, it's going to come back around and people will jump back on the train. And in 10 years from now, we know that in 1 year, we way overestimate how much we as people can get done. But in 10 years, we vastly underestimate how much we as people can get done. When that 10-year cycle of building and actually developing products and technology and hardware and et cetera, when that all hits, I mean, it's going to be incredible. And yeah, I mean, I don't know how you couldn't be bullish about that. Despite everything that's happened with the term, how could you not be so bullish on that and just so excited about that virtual world, virtual future?
I agree 100%. It's just the next stage in the immersion, right? Like, when I try to explain it to my normies, they'd be like, why would I do that? Now we have what we do right now, video calls, or you have like whatever, Signal video or WhatsApp video. Before that you had just phone calls. Before that you had emails. Before that you had letters. Before that you had telegrams. Like, it just goes on. Like, the next stage of development of immersion from a tech point, whether it's communication, whether that's gaming. I'm trying to tell this to my mom because I live on the other side of the world, as opposed to where I grew up. So it's like, now we are on the phone, have like a video call. I said, but maybe in 5 years I can go like, hey, let's meet whatever in this coffee shop in Italy or whatever that is. And we'll actually be like, and then in 10, 15 years, we might have technology where I can actually hug you and you'll feel that, and, type of thing. So, and I know that might be scary for some people, but if you just look at it from like the immersion and developmental cycle of technology, it totally makes sense. Like, there's no question about that. And people will embrace it because it's just more immersive. It's just, yeah. And I agree with you. I think this is really what it is. I think for us, more in the Web3 space, it's still like the whole integration of virtual money, of like cryptocurrency, of having these digital economies come to life. Like, all of us want to be. I think there's a very big money focus in our industries anyway. So I think this is kind of what has put people back a little bit. It's like, okay, we have nice games and we have DeFi, so let's bring it together, type of thing. But and I think this is where a bit of the hesitation comes from, at least within our space.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I actually think the big breakthrough is going to be when we enable the creation of new content in the form of like once somebody can use, for example, AI and type in the type of game that the experience that they want, and then the technology is able to develop around that idea and that natural language concept. When that things like that come up, so the creator tools enabling anybody to build the experience that they want without having to have any sort of technical expertise, and empowering people, everyday normal people, as creators, that they can create. And so then it's only limited by their imagination. You have so many brilliant people who they can picture things in their head, but they don't have the coding chops to be able to bring that into reality. So once we empower the creator and we unleash that sort of unlimited creativity, and then you're in the full immersion. You put on the goggles, or if you have a chip in your brain, you just tap the chip and you go into like creator mode, whatever it is. Once the average everyday person has the ability to create incredible experiences just thinking about it, or at least just typing in some words and it happens, that in my opinion is when we hit that critical breakthrough, because at that point you're unleashing the creativity of human civilization in a new way, right? Like Steve Jobs used to say, the computer is the bicycle for the mind, right? Well, if just the computer is the bicycle for the mind, imagine what many computers with AI all helping to like understand what's in here and bring that out and have that actually built and recreated in a virtual environment that is then completely able to be shifted and adjusted and improved. The amount of productivity increase will be incredible. I mean, it's gonna be a complete game changer. So I actually think the financialization that we've seen is important, because you have to be able to incentivize people to do that and reward people for doing that really well and for adding to that collective innovation push. So you almost have to have the financial piece to it. But like, in my opinion, empowering the creators and empowering normal people to become creators, that's when we hit our biggest breakthrough, because then everybody's on board and we're all pushing towards, hey, let's make the most incredible experiences. Hey, let's all build this thing together. Hey, how can we all think together and work together to create this incredible, beautiful thing? And there's no barrier to entry from lack of coding.
Now a word from our sponsors.
Introducing Creo Engine, a next-level Web3 gaming ecosystem that connects gamers and developers in a Web3 gaming hub. Hop on their Creo Play platform to check out current and upcoming titles like Evermore Nights, Slime Haven, Creonia Metaverse, and Arcade Fest. The team has earned the endorsement of the chairman of Indonesia's People Consultative Assembly and earned a 10 out of 10 from Hackin on their cross-chain bridge audit. Check all this out and more on creoengine.com. Introducing Ridotto, gambling infrastructure that offers seamless on-chain experiences. I'm excited to announce that Ridotto is the first real GambleFi project to be listed on not just one, but two major centralized exchanges, Bitmart and MEXC. Hop on their fully decentralized platform for lotteries, casino games, and betting. No KYC, no deposits, and instant payouts. All fueled by their RDT token, enabling you to play, build your own casino games, and bankroll as the house. Check all this out and more at ridotto.io.
And now back to your regularly scheduled program.
Well, you hit a great point there about kind of what anyways define Web3, right? It's like the value decentralization, like value being accrued, at the more upstream level in that sense. And I think that the Wilder World, for example, one thing that I haven't mentioned is that we strive to become fully decentralized. So each individual NFT collections that we have, for example, they're organized in DAOs. So whenever you're part of a collection, you're basically part of the DAO. And the end goal is to just, once it's all launched, to just give it to the people, similar to how like a democracy or city would run, right? And I think this is a really important point as well, is that, not to tap into like the next era of centralized power, but actually give it back to the people. And then have this, what you say, the fully user-generated content just being unleashed to the people. And it's something that, I've been working with my team really, really strongly on actually, fostering that and pushing this forward. But that in itself, from a technological perspective, is such a difficult one. Even if you just come for a perspective, what sounds really easy is, let's say you want to have people design apparel, or you want to have people be able to design shoes or design, whatever that is, clothes in the metaverse. It's obviously something that we talk about.
But yeah, what a fascinating idea about how difficult it is to actually go from having your game and having your experience, and then the next level up being enabling other people to come in and like turn the knobs and press the buttons to create something internally within your experience that you've already created. Because we know modding, we know modding is one of the modding gives some of the longest lifespan to games that we've seen, right? Like something like Roblox, it's infinity amount of modding, and Minecraft as well. But if we actually even look back at things like Warcraft 3, Frozen Throne, they all had these custom games that people could build, right? Like they had, and only a few of the real nerds will get the reference here, but like back in in Warcraft 3, they have these custom games, and you could literally mod your own types of games, right? You had like Winter Mall Wars or Hero Line Wars Lycian, or actually that was the beginning of Dota, and the idea of a Dota like game that was created in those mini games there. So the ability to not only let people mod something like their own apparel, kind of like Zen, what you were talking about before you got rugged, but actually enable people to kind of build their own game modes and set rules and to become game makers in and of themselves. That gives so much longevity, and it turns it from a game into a platform where people could fully express themselves through that. And like I mentioned, that's where Dota came from. So, Dota 2, some of the biggest esports tournaments in the world, League of Legends came from that. That's kind of inspired by the same thing. They created a whole new game mode within a mod of a game. So to me, it's just tremendously important that we get this right in Web3, especially because we have figured out the ownership piece using blockchain. It's just a no-brainer. I mean, we've got to nail that, and that is absolutely going to be a part of the key to really building this industry up. But
so you really nailed it. It's massively difficult, but at the same time we know we'll get there. We know we get the right technologies to make this easier, have some form of like SDKs, just simple, probably with AI that would just make it possible within instance environments. But I totally agree with you. This is the key, and it's actually part of our mission statement as well, is like the to empower the creator and everyone. So it's really something that we strive for, to get to a place where anyone can just create. The metaverse should be open, should be decentralized. In our case, it'll not belong to any wilder world or whatever. It'll just belong to the people. So if you're creative, you come into the world, you make it happen. You should be rewarded in the right manners. So it's amazing. If you look at it from that point of view, you're totally right. How can you not be bullish on that? Hey.
100%. And dude, I've actually. Oh, sorry. Just one thing real quick, Jared. I love what you're talking about using AI to actually assist the player or assist the creator in helping to build out their experience. I have been going down such a rabbit hole lately of trying to figure out how to use AI to build games, because I think there's such an important unlock here. There are literally pieces of technology out there, open source, where you can actually go in and you can click create a project, and they have like this, AI prompt, and you're like, okay, I want to do mobile, or I want to do desktop, or I want to do whatever. And you can then either use a template that they have, or you literally type in to the AI the type of game that you want. And within about 15 seconds, it'll create something. It'll be basic. It will not be at the level even close of Wilder World and the quality that you guys have, but it will create like almost this little mini game. If that's available to the public right now for free in 2024, by the end of the decade, I mean, I can't even imagine how incredible these sorts of tools are. But I think you're right. AI is going to be the key because it can go and it can instantly be the expert in programming that the people need to be able to take their ideas here and express those concisely, concretely, and actually within code without actually having to learn the code. So I think you're spot on with that 100%.
Yeah, and in addition to that, also to make it technologically working, actually to make it, bug free, to make it just be like, I think the design is one thing, but then the implementation of it with a different system, the interoperability, if you like, it's massive. It's people don't realize how difficult it actually is to just make two different pieces of technology work together. So this scenario that we are talking about, these are hundreds of different sophisticated technologies that have to work together. So it'll not be possible without. And that's also why I believe it could in the end go much faster than we think, because look, even what OpenAI, what ChatGPT has done to the world in the course of 6 months or something like this, essentially from mainstream not ready to like absolutely change the course of the world or the business environment anyways within 6 months, just like that, So I wouldn't be surprised if we get this supercharge also in our gaming or in our space, where we just have this technology that just allows exactly for these things. So it's wild times to be working in that field.
I see what you did there. I see what you did there.
I like
Wild
that.
times.
And speaking of wild, I wanted to talk about, another really important aspect, especially in Web3 games, is the financial incentives to actually be a creator within whichever system that you want to build out. And, how do you guys plan on integrating the wild token into that system where, let's say, you've got somebody who's created like the best the game everybody wants to play other than the main game. This is like the A1, the one that everybody plays for a few minutes or a few hours and then goes into the other game. What is the financial incentives going to look like for that if they're bringing massive amounts of people into Wilder World with their creative map that they've come up with?
Yeah, I think from an economic perspective, we believe it should work like the real economy. Like if you you create an amazing product, you build an amazing car, you're able to sell it, people actually want it, you should be rewarded for that. So I think it's similar in Wilder World. Like everything will be powered by the wild token. As for where I can only speak obviously for where we are right now. Is that, for example, the Wilder Wheels, our racing game, has its own economic model. So, for example, you'll need to purchase fuel or NOS or auto parts or like tuning parts, for example. But then you get rewarded for racing, you get rewarded for winning races. There are like weekly tournaments, there are daily rewards, there are questing rewards. So it's like an economic loop of like, we're giving out wild token and on the other hand, we're taking in wild token. So and then if this is a very basic model, of course, it's much more complicated than that. But if you just look at it, then now you could plug in and you come in and you say, you know what, Jared has a great idea. He has like this new paint, whatever that you can put on your car. I don't know, just like a mirror chrome paint, for example, and you'll be able to sell that. So someone goes like, I like that paint. I buy that paint and you get rewarded for that because it's your product. It's your creation, right? So Wilder World in that instance has nothing to do even with that. We just provide the platform. So this is like from a very basic models. And I could imagine that once we're at the stage where we facilitate other game modes, it would be the same thing, that if you wanted to join the game mode, you might have to pay a little bit or whatever. And then, but at the same time, you get rewarded for participating in that. So it's all a matter of making sure that money or wild token has to be spent, but at the same time, we also want to make sure that we always give out enough wild tokens that the economy can live. And again, these are theoretical models for where we are right now. We're working on models of how we can scale that. So we'll start with 5,000 people, then it's 10,000 people, then it's 15,000 people until we can really open it up. Because obviously you cannot just take 100,000 people in and just supercharge the economy like that. But I think really where we stand at is, if you're creative, if you create something within Wilder World, like, you'll be rewarded. That's your goal. If you have something that the people want, if you have something that enriches the experience of Wilder World, you should be rewarded and you should, you should be rewarded. And I think this is what we abide by. So this is kind of how we see that.
And are you going to take that sort of to the next, level in my mind with the NFTs and, owning certain sectors of the NFTs and how, people can interact with it, like the buildings, or maybe you want to create a paint shop, right, for the cars, and how that can grow and sort of change the it's fun for people in many different ways, and having sort of almost like a company inside of Wilder World, I think that would be awesome. And what are your plans for building that out, and sort of the future of how everyone's going to interact within the world, and owning certain sectors of NFTs, and how you sort of balance that out if one person owns, say, all the buildings, right? What would that look like versus what the plan is with Wilder World to sort of decentralize that and kind of spread it out?
Yeah, I think what you said there is exactly how we see that. Owning companies inside Wilder World, we wouldn't call them companies, but it's like projects that you have within Wilder World to create something, to build something. And we have actually our first land sale or land distribution going live in the next 3 or 6 months, and a bit of alpha that I'm dropping here. So, where I forgot the number, but I think we have like over 100,000 land plots simply due to the sheer size of our city. And it will be exactly like that. Like, you can own a building, you can own like a high rise or whatever, a part of the high rise, and then you could lease it out if you wanted to have a paint job shop, for example, or we have like a coffee shop. So you would be surprised what requests we're already getting from the community, what they want to do. Like, I want to open like a taxi company within Wilder World, or I want to be the Uber, type of thing. So it's really happening, and I think this is how it's going to take shape and form. So ideally, we distribute these assets in a way that's obviously fair. Not that one whale can come and snatch it all up, and then it's left to the people, similar to how it is in the real world. If someone owns a building and you sell it, Wilder World, our business model will by that point most likely be just on secondary trades, like it might be like a minor percentage or something like that. So it's kind of, if you like a tax, but really a small one, just to kind of keep everything running in that sense. So I think it's yeah, but this is how we see that. So we obviously have our own assets that we can drop, that we can funnel into the environment. But ideally, we get to the stage where this is not needed. Where just everyone creates something and it's just been distributed, and the ownership is totally 100% with the people, and we are basically just in the background, kind of just making sure that the infrastructure, that the simulation keeps on running. That's kind of how we see that. So total ownership. Once it's on the market, it's on the market. I mean, that's the whole promise of NFTs anyways. And this is how we see that as well.
So I want to make sure that as we're getting kind of close to time here, I want to make sure that we talk about the really big push you guys are doing, the big campaign that's coming up now, all the fun things that should be live and out to the public as of the release today of this episode. For those of you in the future, just know that this is why you should listen immediately when episodes drop, so that you don't miss the alpha and you can get on stuff early. But anyways, please, if you would please go into the campaign and the big push you guys are doing right now.
Yeah. So essentially, where we're looking at the rest of the year, kind of from two perspectives. We have our development cycle or development pipeline from the game perspective, is what I mentioned in the beginning. We have the racing game live right now. We're working on a first-person shooter. We're working on the open world slice. So these are kind of like the game modes that have been in development for a while now. And then we have NFT drop, which kind of like really create the basis for the world. So I just gave this alpha already about the first land drop. There are 2 more NFT collections that are really key to the Wilder World experience that will go live this year as well. So essentially, we have these 5 big key moments: 3 NFT collections, 2 new game modes, which then culminate in a different open world instance. So it's really 6 big moments that we have, and we have this campaign set up that launches this week Thursday. So when this goes live, that might be then today or like Thursday, anyways, August 8th. They can just everyone check it out. Go to our Twitter, go to our where you can find the link to the airdrop page. That essentially fiddles a thread through all these releases. So it is in the beginning all about like awareness and making people understand what Wilder World is. As you see, we speak now for 45 minutes about what Wilder World is, and it kind of starts to form an understanding of what it is. So it's really difficult to pinpoint Wilder World into like a 30-second elevator pitch. So really the first stage of the campaign is dedicated to that, to make people understand what Wilder World is, what is the vision. There will be ways of participating and interacting interacting with the ecosystems that you get rewarded. And this goes then into the different stages depending on the releases, what I just mentioned. So we have, when our first NFT collection drops, there will be incentives to actually participate in the trading of that and learn more about the economic side of Wilder World. When a new game mode drops, there will be in-game rewards, in-game missions that will be part of this airdrop campaign. So it will be like a 2 plus 3 months, 3 months plus airdrop campaign that really encompasses all these different releases. And we will distribute a significant amount of wild tokens. So really a significant amount of wild token, I'll just say that, to the community to really bring more token in circulation, give more back to the community. And our goal is that by then we will have ideally tens of thousands of players in the various game modes, actually participating in these economies, already being rewarded and earning wild tokens while playing, and at the same time really understanding what Wilder World is all about. So this is kind of what we're launching on Thursday this week, and we are really, really excited. It's a campaign that's been months in the making. We have over 50 partner communities that will participate in that campaign, so it is a massive bang. We have a lineup of KOLs, some of our ambassadors that we work with. So it's really everyone is very excited, and especially now when the markets really had this strong dip, we were kind of internally discussing what does this mean, but we are all really all fire. We're you know what, we give the people something really that they can enjoy, something where they go yes, the torch is still lit. Let's participate in the Wilder World airdrop campaign and yeah, earn some money and just see what's happening in the Web3 gaming space for those that might not know Wilder World yet. So very exciting for us.
I'm pumped. I know you guys are doing some amazing things over there, and I, as a full disclosure, as an investor and a friend, I'm just very grateful for everything that you guys have been doing, especially you, sir. There are very few group chats with a lot of the top gaming OGs where you're not in there. So you're a partnership wizard. You guys are building an amazing technology. Obviously, you care about the community, hence the airdrop campaign and giving to the people. So yeah, I just want to recognize you and the entire Wilder World project for the amazing work that you guys do. Thank you.
Thank you, man. I can only give that back. I mean, I know everyone who watches this don't need to hear more about you, but I really appreciate you. Thank you.
Awesome. Good man. I want to be respectful of everybody's time, so I know that we have to jump here. But Zen, thank you so much for coming on the show today. I just want to, again, express my gratitude for you sharing your very valuable time and coming to give us a deep dive on Wilder World. I really appreciate that. Jared, thank you so much for being one of the most epic co-hosts of all time. You're the man as well. Appreciate you guys.
Thanks, Zen.
Thank you, Jared. Good catching up again. And I see you in all these group chats.
Awesome. And we'll see you in Miami.
Let's go. Wild times ahead, guys.
Awesome. All right, guys. Thank you so much to everybody watching, listening. Really appreciate you. And we will see you on the next episode of Interlinked. Take care.
Crypto Unicorns is available to play now on their website, and their Play to Airdrop campaign just kicked off on July 1st. Players can now earn daily Zai rewards just by playing the game. Try it out for yourself and breed, battle, and collect your favorite unicorns, all while earning your slice of the Zai pie. This is not an opportunity to miss, so hop onto their website, www.cryptounicorns.fun, and try it out for yourself.